working with all the different skills that you've learned so far this past few days. So the first thing we need to do is go to tinkercad.com. So go ahead and go to tinkercad.com right now. Sign in like you always do, just using your Google credentials. Sign in with Google, and it's the same thing we've been doing. So just sign in again. Now this is your home page, so some of you might have only one or two designs, and that's okay. But we're gonna get started with create new design. And the first thing we're gonna do is change this weird looking name to your name. So put your first and last name. You just put your name. I'm just labeling different because it's a video that's gonna go for everybody. So you just put your first and last name. So once that's done, the next step is to change this to inches. Remember, we gotta update our grid. Again, it's right here on the bottom right, edit grid, and we're gonna change it to inches. And then we update grid. So we're gonna start off with your base. Remember, we cannot print letters just like that because then they're gonna be floating around and they're not gonna be attached to anything. So we're gonna bring in our plate, which is the initial one. Since it's already set to inches, we're gonna resize it. This right here stays at a 1. This one changes to a 4. So we got a 4 by 1, and the height, remember the height is always right below this cone. The height's gonna be 0.15. Now some of you might have this plate already when we got started, but if you don't, it's okay. So let's just move it here to the back a little bit, and that's your initial plate. We're gonna build our name on top of this. The next thing we're gonna do is add a hole to make sort of for like a key ring. So we bring in this hollow cylinder, bring it here, and we're gonna make it a 1/4 by a 1/4 of an inch in diameter. Remember, diameter is all the way across. So we click here, and a 1/4 of an inch is 0.25 times 0.25. The height, it doesn't really matter because we're gonna push it completely through. So now we're just gonna move it here. Now we need to align it and make sure that it's like perfectly in the center of, you know, the width of that one. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna click and drag so we can select both objects. Then I'm gonna click right here, which is align. So we can either click there or press the letter L. So we'll do that right now. And since we want it aligned with the width, the one we're gonna do is this one right here. Then it's gonna put it right in the middle. So I'm gonna do that again. Let's say I have this one and it's like right there. Right, but if I want it right aligned in the middle, I'm just gonna do that. Tap the letter L, and when these appear, I'm gonna click this one, and you see that orange outline? That means that's where it's gonna put it. Now, why are we doing this? Because we want your name to fit within this 3 or 3.5 inches right there. So now we need to push this hollow cylinder straight through. And how do we do that? We click, press on the little cone, and then push it through. Did you see how it goes to the bottom? That's exactly what we want. So now we need to group them so that we can make the hole through that thing. So how do we group them? We click and drag, and now everything's selected, and then I'm gonna press this key right here, which is the same thing as Control G. So we're gonna group them, and now our plate has that hole so that we can put our name in there. Let's extend this length to, instead of 4, let's do 4.25, just because we added that piece for the name there, or actually for the hole. So now that's done. Now it's time to bring in our text. So let's drag in our text. Now it doesn't mean that it's gonna print this color or whatever color we choose. It's just so that we can differentiate it. So now we're gonna click on this color, and we're gonna change it to yellow just because. So So now we have it like this. Now the whole point is for us to fit our whole name inside of this. So if you have a shorter name or and something different that you go by, you can go ahead and do that. I'm just gonna put Lopez. Now how do I do this? I select this and I come over here, we see where the word text is. Then I'm just gonna change that to all caps, Lopez. Now it's there. Now I need to fit it in this part right here. So I'm gonna click and I'm gonna make it a little smaller just by dragging on the corners. I'm not sure, I cannot give you a dimension for these because the different amount of letters is gonna change. But so we can make it like that and maybe bring it a little. And this again, look, this is just the top view. So then when I look at it, it's gonna look sort of like this. Now we need to change this to 0.25. Actually, let's go 0.30. Now you have your name plate there. What do we do next is to group them. So now we select everything and we're gonna do Control G, and now everything is grouped together. Now the last thing we're going to do is just to make it a little fancier and kind of cut off the corners right here. So we're gonna again bring in another cylinder right there, and now we're gonna change it to a 0.24. Actually, let's do 0.30 here. 0.30, and over here 0.30 as well. Now all we're doing is we're going to place this cylinder here, and this is what it's going to do. See how we cut that corner off? That's all I want you to do. You're going to do that 4 times. So in order for us to get the exact same thing, we need to duplicate it. How do you duplicate it? You click on it once, you click it and select it like that. Just the make sure, well, okay, before we do that, make sure this is ungrouped. So once it's right here, just do Command or Control D once, move it, and you know it's gonna go here. Duplicate it again, move, don't do that. And move it so you know this one's gonna go there, and then duplicate it again, and you know this one is gonna go in this corner. Then just kind of align them, cut the corners a little bit. Don't cut too much because then it's gonna look weird. Right there, and then get a top view so you kind of see, okay, does it look the same pretty much on all sides? You can. And then once you have them like that, group all of them, and your nameplate's gonna look like that. So that's your final product. Hopefully this video helped you out. Remember, you can pause and replay and go back and everything so you don't miss a step. Good luck, guys.